Hey everyone, it's Michael, GoosebumpsFan. I hope you're doing well today. I got a little bit of a tickle in my throat. I don't know why. I think I just breathed the wrong way. I don't know. Anyway, I have an episode review here for a book that I read a long time ago, like before Halloween. Of course, Halloween was last weekend. I hope you had a great Halloween. I had a birthday this past weekend, so I've been kind of busy. That's why you haven't seen much content from me this last couple of weeks. I've been absolutely slammed. I've been working on some other stuff on the side, not too much, but my main job has gotten a little hectic. I also am doing kind of a split shift thing right now between first and second shift, so it's all been a little bit crazy adjusting my sleep schedule, and I also got addicted to playing the Sims in the City, which is also called Herbs, or The Herbs, Sims in the City, whatever it is for Nintendo DS. Man, if you haven't played that, you're just completely missing out. It's one of the best DS games ever. Anyway, been hooked on replaying that. For Halloween, I wanted to review this episode, and I just didn't get out the time to do it before, so I wanted to do it after. I'm sorry it took about a week, but still, I hope this is good enough. Like I said, I read the book quite a while back. I didn't realize the book was actually technically a Halloween book. It's not entirely focused around trick-or-treating and the night of Halloween itself, but it kind of has a lot of its eyes set towards Halloween upcoming in that particular story. And that book that I read was called Werewolf Skin, and the actual VHS tape that I have right here. You know, I've never seen this two-parter. It is a two-parter. It's not one of the VHS tapes from the Ultimate Goosebumps line, like this one right here says. It's not one of the Ultimate Goosebumps lines like Bride of the Living Dummy, which was a VHS tape I rented all the time from Hollywood Video back in the day. I've talked about that here on the channel when I reviewed that. I showed you my copy. It's not like that where you have a 20-minute long episode and you have another 20-minute long episode kind of in there. This is a two-parter thing called Werewolf Skin. And this is really solid. I was very, very impressed with how good this was. I do say, from the get-go, I think I like the book better. I think the book, hands down, no argument, was a better book than this was an episode. But this was a freaking good adaptation, man, I'll tell you that much. This was released, both parts, on November 22nd, 1997. And it was Season 3, Episode 13 and 14. And it was directed by Mr. Ron Oliver, who did a lot of episodes I've reviewed here on the channel. I've reviewed almost his entire Goosebumps episode catalog that he did. He did Welcome to Camp Nightmare Part 1 and Part 2, Night of the Living Dummy 2, Say Cheese and Die. In Season 2, he did Let's Get Invisible, Vampire Breath, and How to Kill a Monster, which is one of the few that I haven't watched yet or read the book. Season 3, The Perfect School Part 1 and Part 2, Werewolf Skin Part 1 and Part 2, and Say Cheese and Die again. Oh, bad book and bad episode. In Season 4, he did How I Got My Shrunken Head Part 1 and Part 2, and also Cry of the Cat Part 1 and Part 2, which I haven't read that yet either. So, yeah, I got some stuff here to really delve into. Essentially, you're following a kid who is into photography because of his aunt and uncle. He's going to visit his aunt and uncle, and in the book, it's around Halloween time. He's looking forward to what he wants to be for Halloween. He's going to be going to school here at this area where his aunt and uncle live. He's getting into photography and whatnot with them, like I said. And he kind of wants to be a werewolf for Halloween. And all of the Halloween stuff are completely absent in this story. They're not even brought up. I don't think there was any mention of Halloween at all, which is fine. You know, it came out in November. There was probably some kind of talk of Halloween somewhere in the story plotting, and then they realized they weren't going to be able to get it done before Halloween probably, so they just avoided all of it. But yeah, the Halloween absence is completely there. I think that's kind of pointless in the book itself. It counts as a Halloween book, but it's not extremely a Halloween book. It's just kind of mentioned in there with the costumes and the discussions of the upcoming night and the excitement around that. Werewolf Skin is a fantastic book. I talked about it in my review. I gave it a great glowing review. I read that in one day at my father-in-law's house when my wife went to visit him. I sat down that night in my little nook corner area that he built. That he didn't build it for me, but he made a little corner in the room for me since we don't have much in that room. And I just have a lamp and a really cozy chair that his grandfather built, and it's great, and I love it. And I just relaxed, and I read that whole book, which isn't a big book, but I did read that whole book on that one visit that night in a few hours, and it was great. It was such a good book. Werewolf Skin is also one of the ones that's really hard to get your hands on, and so is this VHS tape a little bit. It's not the easiest to get your hands on if you can find it, probably on eBay or something like that. You won't find a DVD release of this, which is really surprising me. This is one of the more high-quality Goosebumps episodes, in my opinion. Probably a relatively bigger budget because of the costumes. The werewolf look is fantastic. Goosebumps always does werewolves well. I'll stand by that for the rest of my life. Ron Oliver typically seems to be doing more of the standalone episodes than the two-parters, but his two-parters typically are pretty good. I think Timothy Bond is better. I think William Fruit, or Fruet, however you pronounce his name, I think his work is better pretty much for me. But Ron Oliver is also a big contender for the Goosebumps TV show and his types of adaptations of these old R.L. Stine books. Essentially, you have this kid going to visit his uncle and aunt, like I talked about. And when he gets there, he starts hearing a lot of urban legend talk about werewolves. And apparently there's a lot of wolves out in the wilderness and different things like that. There's also a house next door to where his aunt and uncle live that is very spooky. Looks like kind of run down and haunted, possibly. People are talking about that a lot. And then at some point, this boy begins to encounter werewolves after he has a discussion about it in school and whatnot. There's a couple of bully kids that kind of pick on him a little bit, too. They look familiar, but I don't think I know them from anything. I do know the aunt and uncle from some stuff. I know I have to. Okay, the aunt is played by Nikki Guadagni. I don't know how to say that name. She's in Cube. If you've seen that, the horror film called Cube, it actually came out before Saw. Big influence on Saw. Cube is a pretty solid flick. I really, really like that one. She was in Ready or Not. She was in the remake of The Omen called Damien. Let's see. It says she was a distressed woman in Silent Hill, the 2006 movie adaptation of the old video games I love so, so dearly. She was in Atomic Betty. She was in all kinds of stuff, man. I mean, Magic School Bus, Storm of the Century. Let's see, what else do I see listed here for my favorites? That's all I'm really seeing right here. And the uncle is actually played by Ron Leah. And he is in quite a few things, too. He's in Punisher Warzone, which is also great. Really dig that. He was on Supernatural. Saw 4. Yeah, Saw 4. I had to get the Roman numerals right that I was looking at. I'm a big Saw fan. That's cool. Both of these actors, you know, Nikki and Ron, were both in some Saw-type stuff, one of them being in Saw. Anyway, I love the locations in the film. I want to call it a film. It's like 45 minutes in total. I love the locations shot for this. I know it's a very woodsy area, probably in Canada. It just looks really good. It fits for this kind of tale. It's supposed to be a very secluded area, you know, that book takes place in a very kind of like there's not even streetlights type of area. Very, very type, just kind of tucked away house. And I think the atmosphere they have for this really works. The music is excellent in this particular video. I really, really dig it. I think it really worked for the atmosphere. It was one of those very rare examples of Goosebumps music. The actual music, not just like the theme song from Lentz, but the actual music throughout the episode, I think had so much going for it. Really kind of put some life in this episode, I guess. I think the main kid is really good. I was very impressed with him. He's not always great, but for a child actor, I liked him. I thought he was funny. He had a little bit of sass to him. There's some times where he kind of worries about his aunt and uncle a little bit that were pretty fun. And there are some things that don't really make any sense at times in this episode. If you've seen it, you probably know what I'm talking about. The biggest interest I have is the werewolves. I'm not a big werewolf guy because stories about werewolves typically fail all the time, just like vampire stories. There's a big reason why you don't see either of those things these days in movies, because they don't really have a big impact. There's no real creative way to use them anymore aside from the Wolfman and Dracula with Bela Lugosi. You'll probably only see adaptations of those things over and over and over again until it's exhausted, because there's no real way to come up with a good, really worth going to the movie theaters type of movie with that. And it's a shame, because you used to have Lost Boys, and you used to have Fright Night, and all these cool things like that. You don't really have things like that anymore, but the werewolves in here, the costumes for them look amazing. For a practical effect, they look so good. They look so good. If you're a werewolf fan, you've got to see this two-parter. It will save... Well, I don't know what I was going to say with that, but it'll make your day. It'll absolutely make and save your day. You'll love it. It's so cool looking. Let's see, what else was there? I do have one massive complaint, and this bothered me the entire episode, man. Okay, so, for whatever reason, and I don't remember this being a big thing in most of Ron Oliver's adaptations. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm not remembering it properly. But for whatever reason, there is an absolute obsession with Dutch angles. Now, if you don't know what a Dutch angle is, it's basically when you have a movie where the camera is not facing directly at an actor, it's kind of curved sideways. I'm not kidding you, dude. There are scenes that will start off like this, and the next shot changes to that, and then back to that, and then back to that constantly. And then you'll have scenes that are so far leaning over that the room looks like it's upside down almost. It is absolutely distracting. The entire time that I was watching this movie, I was dumbfounded by how stupid the Dutch angle thing was. And after a while, me being an older man now, if I was a kid seeing this, it wouldn't bother me. But as Michael Goosebumps fan who just turned 27, it bothers me as an adult man who loves movies and books and stuff like that. Any kind of media that I get my hands on, camera angles are bothering me these days. That should show you how elderly I am in my brain and where I am in my current love for movies and whatnot. I will say this. Those Dutch angles are so distracting after a while because they're consistently in every single scene almost. It throws you off. And there's a lot of fake outs in here too. The fake outs are okay. That's a Goosebumps staple. I mean, that's in the books when you have the chapter just end on something that can be a very easy explainable thing, but it makes you want to keep going. The episodes like that too. They have a lot of episodes in the whole show in total that do that kind of thing. They have a jump scare, they have a fake out or a dream sequence. That kind of thing happens repeatedly in here and it works. But I will say there's some tension in here, man. There's one particular scene, if you go to look at the IMDb page, you're going to see this shot of the werewolves in the window. That particular scene was fantastic. It's about halfway through the two-parter episodes together. And I'll tell you, it looks great. It's tense. The amount of terror in that scene is so well done. And again, the kid actor in here, he's really good. I'm really, really impressed with that kid. It's just fun. It's a fun episode. It's really a fun two-parter. And to be in Season 3, I hear a lot of people all the time say Season 3 and Season 4 kind of fall off for them. For me, it doesn't matter. All of Goosebumps feels like Goosebumps to me. I don't know yet what I think is the weakest season yet. Maybe one day I'll rank all the episodes or something. I don't know. But at this current point, I think there's a lot of pluses in a lot of places. I have not seen things like Cry of the Cat yet, so I don't know what's going to happen with that. But I do love this show. I think that this particular two-parter is a fantastic watch. It has so much going for it. It's just fun, you know? And I was a little worried, too. I have this VHS copy here, and it looks like some kind of pressure fell on top of it at some point. My VHS is actually cracked a little bit. It's not too deep in there where it could destroy it, but I was a little worried that it was going to mess up my one and only VHS player I've had since I was a kid. So thank God that didn't happen. I don't know if that happened in our move or we moved to our new house or what, but I got a little worried about that, so it is what it is. But I had a blast watching this. I could not possibly recommend Werewolf Skin enough to you if you haven't seen this two-parter. It's not perfect. It's not something to me like Night of the Living Dummy 2, or I mean Night of the Living Dummy 3 or Bride of the Living Dummy. For me, I like that more than this. Haunted Mask 1 and 2 I like more than this. But this is one of the top tier ones, man. For the ones that aren't that well known, that I never hear people talk about from the TV show, this is a really good one. This is one of the ones like Werewolf of Fever Swamp that just is another great werewolf tale. It really knocks it out of the park. It has a good twist in here. The execution of the big twist in here is a little mixed, and I will say the finale is a little mixed for me. It's a little goofy looking, I'll be honest. It hasn't aged well. But I love it. I love the ideas of it. It's one of those things, like I said, Stephen King and R.L. Stine are the only people that I see that are able to pull off anything new at all with werewolves. And I think it's because they grew up with those kinds of tales. How many times has Stine done a wonderful werewolf book within the Goosebumps legacy of books? Whether it be the classic series, the GYG books, anything. How many times has he reinvented this or done something really cool? Stephen King has The Silver Bullet, which is excellent. If you haven't seen that film, it's absolutely fantastic. The book, of course, I haven't read yet, but I hear it's identical. But still, I'm very thankful for this. I'm really glad I have this in my collection. If you haven't seen Werewolf Skin, I'd love to hear what you have to say about it down below. Again, the music is really good here. It really makes this fun to watch. I had a blast with it. I recommend it if you have not seen it for whatever reason. But, folks, that's pretty much all I have to say. I wish I could have gotten this review out to you earlier. I wish I had done it earlier in October, but I just got slammed to the wall, man. I was trying to watch the Halloween Michael Myers movies and stuff. I wanted to rewatch all of them. I ended up rewatching most of them. I wanted to get caught up again for Halloween Kills. I know they're not all in one continuous saga, but I love all of those movies pretty much in their own way. I'm very nostalgic as a fan of those and of horror in general. So I wanted to rewatch a lot of them and stuff, and I just got busy, man. I was planning on reading Halloween Party by R.L. Stine this month, or last month, October. Didn't get around to that either. Probably gonna have to do that next year, God willing. But I don't know, I've just been swamped, and I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm burnt out, I'm having a hard time making the time to get into reading again. Like right now I'm kind of working on Frankenstein from Mary Shelley to review for one of my other channels. And just because I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of time to consistently sit down and just read nonstop. Working a second shift lifestyle is very difficult because I have to get up a little bit before my shift. And when I say a little bit, I mean like 3 or 4 hours, whereas most people just get up and go straight to work. You know, I don't do that. I get up for a little while, and I have to be in the mood to want to read or something before I go to work to really get anything done. By the time I get home, I'm so exhausted from running around all day for 8 hours. It's like I physically can't mentally get there to where I want to read. You know, so it's hard for me. I usually try to get all my reading in on the weekend or something, but I do apologize again for the lack of videos, the lack of content here on the channel. I'm sorry if it seems like I've kind of put you guys on the back burner a little bit. I feel like in a lot of ways I have. It's just I'm trying to do a lot of other things that are more important in my life, with my wife, my job, different important personal things in my life. Trying to make sure, too, that I'm not, you know, too worried about pleasing everybody all the time. You know, that's a lesson I'm learning more and more the older I get. So I need to take breaks and enjoy my life and enjoy my family and, you know, prep for the future, that kind of thing. So overall, thank you for being here is what I really want to boil it down to. Thank you for being a part of my life. Thank you for guys for watching videos like this where I just ramble on for like a half an hour over nothing. Sometimes the actual episode I'm reviewing, but most of the time it's nothing. Thank you guys for being here. And if I had to rate Werewolf Skin on a 5-star basis, and I rated the book pretty high, this episode's a little goofy. It has a lot of charm to it because of that. It hasn't aged well entirely. A lot of it has, but not all of it. It's really solid, but the Dutch angle thing kills it for me in so many ways. So many scenes, especially in that kitchen, man, are ruined because of the stupid Dutch angle obsession in this. I don't know what Ron Oliver was thinking, man. If I had to rate this on a 5-star basis, I would give it a 4 out of 5 stars. It's so close to being great, but it's just good. It's really good, but it's not great yet, in my opinion. Maybe in some future rewatches of this, maybe I'll think better of it. I don't know. But that's where I stand for right now. 4 out of 5 stars for Werewolf Skin. I would love to hear what you guys have to say about this particular video down in the comment section down below, or these two-parters, whatever, down in the comment section down below. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Let me know all that down below. Man, it's hot in here. Whew, I'm burning up. I gotta stop recording and go downstairs to cool down. I don't know why it's so hot up here today. Anyway, thank you for the rambly review you guys listened to, if you sat through all of this. Anyway, God bless you guys. Goodbye.